And the problem with salespeople is they inherently want to do as little as possible to make as much as possible. I was one of them. Yeah, I'm going to figure out what's my number. How much do I need to make this month? X amount of thousands. Sweet. Go out there. First of the month, I'm grinding. Hit that number on the 4th. I'm like, yeah,
coasting.
Yo, Johnny, you trying to go golf at noon?
Yeah.
You know, and then I go into my meetings. I'm like, yo, we're just out here. You know, it's a little struggle right now, but I'm at goal. So, you know, we're gonna keep pushing.
Good, right? Yeah.
Now the difference was I was self-gen. I was generating all my own opportunities. But even so, there were unintended consequences of me being a part of that team. So if other people see that I'm not performing in week 2, week 3, week 4, they're less likely to piggyback on my energy of success and go at it just as hard, even though they're not at goal. But especially when you're paying for opportunities, that's a real problem. You know, if you're paying $150 or $200 a lead on average, and sales rep A gets to his number on his first 2 calls and you send him another 50 leads for the next month, I promise you, if you're not managing him on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis to hold him accountable, to check in and make sure he's running those leads properly, checking on documented follow-up, making sure that the quotes are getting sent, making sure once they're open, they're followed up on, he is not working those fucking leads the same as if he had 0 sales. It's just not going to happen.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, we just went through this, and this was the internal problem I was talking about. I basically just got rid of most of my sales team. I kept 3 people, and one of them right now is in a tenuous position to where we're probably going to dial him back quite substantially on what we're providing for leads. The answer to your question is, you know, how do we manage that? And it's really, we track a lot of data from the sales team, and we stay on top of it. We go through it every week. But one thing that has made a huge difference that we've done is I put a leaderboard in the office, and I have that leaderboard updated every week. And we've also started offering weekly incentives for whoever finishes first. And so building that aspect of competition has really made a huge difference. I mean, anybody that knows me knows I train the living daylights out of my sales team. Really comprehensive sales training. Even guys that have, you know, trained with other sales trainers come in and are like, wow, this is a really comprehensive sales process. But without the tracking and without the managing aspect of it, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know? And so, one of the things that I was getting very, very, very frustrated with is there are 4 things that I need my sales teams to do in order for us to support them so that they can make more money. And I just assumed it's like, okay, I'm putting these things in place for your success. You're just going to do it. Doesn't work like that. Okay. So we need them. So we canvas around our builds. We have a full canvassing process that we do around our builds. I need them to manage their CRM so that we can send out direct mail depending on where these people are in there. And then we also do some automation stuff, you know, to keep in contact with them. I need their job folders to be 100% complete so that our handoff from sales to production is nice and clean and efficient. And then I need them to go out and I need them to market themselves and develop relationships and talk to insurance agents and realtors and all these other people that can be, you know, referral sources for them. And we literally either have a program or a piece of technology for all 4 of those categories. They just weren't doing it. And because they weren't doing it, I can't support them on the back end to squeeze all the juice out of the leads that I'm paying for. And so what I ended up doing was we revamped their comp structure. And essentially what I did is I give my junior reps, I give 8%. So when they come in and they're brand new, they get 8% of the gross of the total. And I know everybody's gonna, oh my God, it's such trash. I know, I can hear it now, but it's industry standard. And so the senior reps get 10% after they've sold their first 2 million. However, every month they start at either 6% or 4. And they have to do those 4 categories. And so if they manage their CRM, they get their percentage. If they manage their referral relationships, they get their percentage. If they turn in their job folders complete, they get their percentage. And if they canvas, they get their percentage. Literally just asking them to do their job that they signed on for in their employment agreement. And so if they just do their job, they get their base percentages.
It's smart.
Yep. And so I talked with a few people about it because I thought maybe that was going to be too, I thought maybe that was too much. Right. And I talked to several people in the industry. One of them runs a $100 million roofing company. And he's like, brother, why did it take you so long to do that? Right. It's fair. And especially fair because I'm doing things on the back end to help get more opportunities for them so that they can make more money. And so, but without the tracking, without the managing, and without like paying attention to the specific details on what the activities I need them to do so they're successful, I wouldn't have been able to do that.
But if somebody's focusing on how can I improve my leadership or my leadership team, what are some quick identifiable things that they could look for in order to make changes?
Yeah, so interesting. I think one of the biggest things is that we look for external solutions to the problems a lot of times.
Okay.
So we'll use marketing as an example. If I'm not able to generate enough leads or I don't have enough, I feel like I need to work on my marketing. A lot of the times it's easy to say, all right, well, that's the problem. I'm just going to go hire someone that's just going to fix all of my problems. And there are people that, like you guys, that can help with that.
Yeah.
However, there's a leadership aspect there also of, all right, what am I doing wrong in this situation? Because I'm sure you guys get a lot of people where they hire you guys and they think, all right, my problem's solved. Mm-hmm. Where there's no looking then internally and saying, what are the things I need to fix? Do I need to become educated in marketing? Do I need to put the people in place in my organization to help if I don't have the time to spend with you guys? Do I have, like, there's a lot of internal things that we need to fix most of the time, right? Now, sometimes it is like, hey, I can't do this. I don't have the skill set to do it, so I'm just going to hire this out and it works. But the thing, leadership is getting other people to fulfill on your mission, right?
Yeah.
So I think the big thing there is that we don't take a serious look at developing as leaders when we are leading an organization, and we just look for other ways of fixing a problem instead of sometimes looking inwardly and saying, what am I doing wrong? Where am I screwing up? And just assuming that everyone else is the problem and that we're doing everything right.
No, and I mean, I can attest to that. I call it like the pay to go away mentality. And it's not just in contract, it's in a lot of different places, business, personal. It's like, hey, I've got this issue, I want to pay you, and then I want nothing to do with it. And a lot of the times that's not going to result in having the most impact in the most positive way. If you think about it, you're treating the symptoms isn't necessarily solving the issue, and most times it's not, and it's going to prolong the point of you getting from the issue to a resolution. So if you've got a pinched nerve and you've got sciatica pain or whatever, you can treat that by eating ibuprofen, right? And maybe that subsides the pain. And that's great for the day. But then you wake up tomorrow and you've got the same fucking issue. And then the next day, and then the next day. Whereas if you go to physical therapy and you work out what issues are causing the symptoms, right? Now you can actually have a solution in perpetuity to where you're not eating ibuprofen every day. You're not compromising your liver, your stomach, and being reliant on the medicine that's treating the symptom. And that's much kind of what you're saying, right? Is figure out what the issues are. Sometimes we got to look in the mirror. I mean, hey, I don't always love looking in the mirror. I got to be honest with you. It's tough to do, but sometimes it's necessary. So how do you measure effective leadership?
Well, one thing is we have a scale called AEP, right? Attitude, effort, performance, and just knowing how to actually put a score to subjective matter. So that's one of the main things over the last 15 years is, quarterly or biannually, you go in and the whole team rates the whole team, right? So everybody gets to rate everybody from every department, even all the way from top of the leadership all the way down to the field reps. So attitude score is basically, that's the most important score, but it weighs, a third of the score. So, but you get ranked on how's your attitude with the team? Are they always positive? Are they always looking to be helpful? Are they always telling the truth? Are they a kind person? then you get into effort. Like if somebody has a good attitude and they're putting in the effort. So these are the effort things that you can measure. Are they putting in all the stuff into job nimbus correctly or into roofer correctly, right? So are they staying up to date with what they're doing? Are they knocking X amount of doors? Are they following the process? Are they practicing? So those are the two first cited weighted scores. And then it's performance. So, have you ever had that one guy on your team that was like the top performer, but nobody wanted to be around him? Well, so I
may have been that guy before.
You probably still are, but
hey, okay. Come on, not on my show, goddammit.
But I'm just teasing. But like, that's the guy that it's the hardest guy to cut because all you see is the metrics and the numbers. But if you're able to really measure all that effectively, and then kind of go in from that angle, like, hey, attitude, effort, and performance in that order. And then so it becomes a 100-point score, right? And so by the time you start adding them up, it's like anybody under a 70, now you go on a PIP or a performance improvement plan, right?
Hippy Longstocking.
Yeah, you got to PIP it up. So, but it's just teaching people that, like, why that's such a measurable thing. It never used to be measurable, but that was one of the secrets to all of our success over the years. And so I really want to just want to get that into everybody's hands, if that makes sense. So
that's across the board for all positions in the company. That's got to be challenging for a sales department.
What's that? Attitude, effort, performance?
Mm-hmm. Because I feel this is my thought. Like the high performing salespeople, and I don't care if you're selling Girl Scout cookies, roofs, or digital marketing. Like doesn't matter. They're typically going to have. I don't know. I've found a lot that have had a will to try to improve things, right? And I think that can be misconstrued when they're consistently not pushing back, but giving feedback as far as how we can make things better. And I think it's a fine line between like this person's being combative and they really care and they want to make improvements to the company. What are your thoughts on that?
I would say that I think attitude and effort are the two most important parts of it, and the performance will come. So we never hired based on metric numbers outside of the company. We always hired based on personality and will they fit this role. Hire the people, not the resume. Exactly. Yep. You hire the people. So if they have the right attitude and they're putting in the effort and the performance stinks, whether the right person on the right bus, they're just in the wrong seat. So then you got to learn how to repurpose people. So, hey, listen, so I have to look introspectively and say, hey, I saw all this great stuff in Michael Stearns, right? And I hired him on as one of our account executives, but he's really stinking it up and he couldn't close the front door, right? So what do I do with this guy? But he's got the attitude, he's put in all of the effort, and he has the right empathy skills and he has the right characteristics. So maybe I need to put him over into the production department to where he can, help with customer, escalation issues. Sure. Right. So there might be another position. So that's the hardest thing is like, hey, I hired him in for sales. And then as a leader or as an owner, especially when we hire somebody, we also see all the potential in them. And if we let them go, a lot of times it's a reflection on us in our minds subconsciously. It's like, hey, I know that he can do it because I hired him. There's no way that he's going to do bad. No. And so it's like learning how to navigate all that and know that it's okay to let people go sometimes because sometimes it's the right thing for them because you're holding them back. So, but it aligns with their attitude and effort first. So if their attitude is not good and their effort's not there, then like they're a D player or C player. And, we want AE plus players on our teams.
You mentioned something, the difference between a manager and a leader. For those that, they're sitting at home and they're watching this right now. Yeah. How do you delineate between the two? What's the difference?
Between a manager and a leader? A manager is just doing the functions of that position. Mm-hmm. Right? They're going to cross the T's, dot the I's. But a leader is somebody that can really resonate and connect with the people and understand what their needs are and manage, but also be conscious of how to help the people on their team develop.
I was put in a leadership position when I was like 23 years old.
Yeah.
And I was young, and it turns out folks that, have more experience in something than you, they don't necessarily love you coming into a position of power.
Sure.
And being in charge of making sure that they're doing their job.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting. And what I quickly learned was, for me in that role, what helped make me successful and actually make the department successful and carry them from where they were to a much better place was understanding who each of those people were, how they would best learn, not painting with a broad stroke, trying to understand where they were deficient and showing through action that I cared specifically about them and catering a plan of action to them to go from where they're at to where they want to be, right?
Yeah.
Taking an interest.
So you get thrown into a spot, you're the young guy out there, and they're questioning why in the world did they choose him? He's 5 years, 10 years younger than me.
Yep.
So what's the key to success there? You have to build and earn a relationship with those people.
Yep.
And so how did you do that?
So the way that the company was traditionally ran is you have these 15-minute meetings with the whole team every single day in the morning. And really it was intended to be constructive, to where you're going to talk about some of the strengths of the team, opportunities, and then it would usually devolve into beatdowns for 15 minutes, which I think was a poor approach. So what I did is I sat down with there were 30 people in the department. I sat down with every one of them. We looked at their numbers. I asked them where they wanted to be. And why do you want to get there? Why is that important to you? So then we started talking about a customized game plan for each individual person. So it was in collections. I did collections throughout college. And, we're cold calling on people that owed student loans, people that fell in hard times, right? So some people, their goal, like their path to success was, you got to make 200 calls a day, because that's what's going to get you the volume to get the amount of contacts that you need. And this is going to be your conversation. This is how you're going to tee it up. And then you're going to get somebody else on the phone once you get them quote unquote qualified as far as positioning a solution for them. Some people, they're going to take it from A to Z, take it from, rack to rack in basketball, and they're going to be able to finish it. So it's partially was empowering the people, understanding what their role was or could be to make them both most successful and give them the best opportunity for that success. And then lending specific, feedback as far as how they can improve what in any facet of their job to realize that goal in the most condensed time frame as possible.
Makes sense.
Yeah. It was interesting.
Yeah. I'm sure you faced challenges, with that age gap, and you had to work hard to earn their trust.
Oh yeah.
And it's like any sales. You go to a customer's house, you present options and ideas for them to consider, and they're going to purchase or do a deal with the person they trust the most. And how do you win their trust? Well, you got to earn their like.
Yeah.
If they like you, they're going to trust you more than the other guy, right?
I was talking to a production manager for a roofing company yesterday, and he's like, once in a while I still hop up on the roof. He's like, I've got it. He's like, especially when we have a new crew. They need to know that I know what's going on, that I'm capable of doing it, and most importantly, that I'm willing to do it with them.
And they'll respect and trust him because of it.
Yep. And in my experience in dealing with some roofing contractors, I think that it's easy to miss that. I don't think it's something intentionally that they don't do. I think it's something that bullets are flying, you get caught up in business. It's not something you pay attention to or put a focus on.
Yeah.
And it's easy for that to not be top of mind.
Yeah.
And minimize the impact that it could potentially have.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.